Hi guys, good day to everyone. In today's video, I will be discussing to you one of the important concepts na palaging naitatanong at palaging kailangang mabigyan ng attention when you are making your research paper, which is yung tinatawag natin na research gaps. So technically, research gap is one of the important concept na laging binibigyan ng pansin ng mga panelists during defense. And we as researchers, it is very important for us to address the questions of our panelists regarding our research gap. And for us to have idea kung paano natin pwedeng sagutin yung question na what is your research gap, why your research gap is important, what type of research gap that you have, and how do you address that kind of research gap. Let me show you or let me share this reference materials na lagi namin ginagamit when discussing the concept of understanding research gap, why they matter in academic inquiry. So let's start our discussion on discussing the definition of research gap. What is research gap? Technically, my dear researchers, kapag sinabi nating research gap, it refers to an area of interests or it refers to a specific area within the field of study that has not being explored o di kaya naman is merong inadequacy when it comes to the existing literature. Meaning to say, research gaps talked about areas of concern na hindi masyadong nabibigyan ng pansin or hindi masyadong nabibigyan ng attention. Kung ito man ay nabigyan ng pag-aaral, maaaring ang pag-aaral na ginawa dito ay hindi sapat or hindi nasasagot yung mga questions, assumptions, and even it present a big limitations based on the previous studies of investigation. Kaya it's very important for us researchers na makapag-identify tayo ng tamang research gap. Kasi baka yung research gap na sinasabi mo sa paper mo is hindi naman talaga research gap. Nagmukha lang siyang research gap kasi hindi ka mahilig magbasa. Pero once that you check it to the internet, once that you check it in different databases, makikita mo na, okay, ang dami na palang previous studies about this problem. So, hindi na siya magiging research gap. So, it's very important for us to understand that research gap refers to an area, a subject, that has not being fully explored. Kung ito man ay merong pag-aaral, hindi sapat yung pag-aaral tungkol dito. So that nagkakaroon tuloy ng limited explanation regarding this concern. So for example, let's have an example here. Nakalagay dito. If previous studies have mostly focused on the urban areas when studying the impact of digital education, you could have a research gap pagdating sa perspective ng mga people pagdating sa rural areas. Majority of the studies about impact of digital education ay nakafocus sa mga urban areas nung tinignan mo yung mga existing studies about it. And then nakita mo there is a limited study na nakafocus on the perspective of rural areas. So with that, it now presents this what we call a research gap. Okay? Then ngayon, alam na natin kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng research gap. The next thing that you need to understand is that why it is important na makapag-identify tayo ng tama at maayos na research gap. Why is identifying a research gap important? So according to Creswell and Creswell, meron daw tatlong mahalagang bagay why we have to identify appropriate research gap. Number one, it brings something new to the table. Since it is gap nga, meron ngang kulangan about this specific areas, the knowledge, the information that you will discover about this problem will bring fresh ideas, fresh perspective, new information to the body of knowledge. Okay? Number two, by identifying appropriate research gap, may iwasan natin yung tinatawag na repetition ng mga previous studies. And we could say that our present study is really relevant. So that is the important why you have to identify appropriate research gap. You can proudly say that my paper is relevant because there's a gap here. Aside from that, it is not the repetition of the previous studies na makikita natin sa internet. So that's number two. And number three is that the ultimate reasons kung bakit natin ginagawa ang maraming pag-aaral is because we want to address real-world problems na hindi nabibigyan ng pansin. Okay? This is the ultimate reasons, the ultimate goal kung bakit natin ginagawa ang research. We want to address a lot of problems, especially those problems na palaging no-overlook. Okay? So that's it. Alam na natin yung sagot kapag tinanong tayo ng panelists natin, what is research gap and why it is important that we identify appropriate research gap. Ngayon, ang tanong naman, ano-ano yung different types of research gap na pwede natin gamitin sa paper natin? Usually kasi, ang research gap na lagi kong nai-encounter sa maraming mga research paper is yung tinatawag natin na empirical gap. The gap that is based on the experiences and observations of the researchers. But aside from empirical gap, marami pa kasing types of research gap na pwede ninyong i-dwell, no? Based on the reference materials that I have here, it is according to Baraceros. We have five other research gaps na pwede nating pagkuhanan ng problem. Number one is yung tinatawag natin na knowledge gap. Pag sinabi nating knowledge gap, it talks about a particular topic na merong insufficient information. Okay? You think of a topic, you think of a subject or areas, na tingin mo there is an insufficient information about that. Example, research on the long-term psychological effects of remote work on employees post-pandemic is limited. Why? Because majority of the studies focus on short-term effects such as productivity and life balance, leaving a gap in understanding the mental health impacts over longer period of time. For example, for 5 years after consistent remote working, ano yung nagiging epekto niyan sa mga employees natin? Okay? So meaning to say, there's a knowledge gap on that kasi hindi sapat yung knowledge na na-gather regarding doon sa ano ba yung pwedeng maging epekto ng pagkakaroon ng remote work sa psychological aspect ng ating mga employees after post-pandemic or during post-pandemic. Okay? So that's knowledge gap. Second one, meron din tayong tinatawag na evidence gap. Pag sinabi naman natin evidence gap, ito yung meron ng mga existing data, meron ng mga existing discussions about the problem, pero hindi siya ganun ka-robust or hindi ganun ka-in-depth or hindi ganun kadami or hindi ganun ka-sufficient yung information na mayroon about that particular conclusions. Kumbaga, may data, but the data itself is not sufficient to support the conclusion. Okay? So ano yung example natin? For example, there are studies on the effectiveness of mindfulness meditation in reducing anxiety. Ito lagi itong dinidiscuss ng isa sa mga teachers ko na ang meditation daw or mindful meditation is good if you want to reduce anxiety. But majority of the studies about this particular concern is nakarely lang sa self-supported data. So, ibig sabihin, base lamang sa perception ng mga individual na gumagawa at nakakaranas nun. Pero, walang objective measures, walang quantitative data na nagpapakita that this thing is really, for example, nakakatulong in reducing anxiety. So because of that, meron ngayong evidence gap. Ngayon, if you want to study this kind of problem, pwede ka ngayong gumamit ng iba't ibang mga quantifiable data or quantitative data para masuportahan yung pag-aaral about mindfulness meditation towards reducing anxiety. Okay, that's evidence gap. Pangatlo is yung tinatawag natin na population gap. No? Pag sinabi natin population gap, hindi equally presented or represented yung certain population or merong group of population na hindi sila represented. Kumbaga, nalileft behind sila. It could be based on the age group. It could be based on the gender. It can be based on the region. It can also based on the religions or whatsoever. Basta, this group of people is not represented doon sa mga existing studies na meron tayo. Halimbawa ng population gap, no? Which present underrepresented or underrepresentation sa mga research. Most research on the impact of social media usage on mental health was conducted among adolescents and young adults. So majority daw ng studies about impact of social media ay nakafocus sa mga adolescents and young adults. With that, meron daw underrepresentation yung mga older adults natin na age 60 above. With that, ngayon, kung gusto mong pag-aralan yung impact ng social media on mental health, iwanan mo na muna yung mga adolescents, iwanan mo na muna yung mga young adults. Bigyan mo muna ngayon ng representation sa study mo yung mga older adults na nasa 60 and above. Okay? Para makita mo din how social media or how the use of social media affect their mental health and social engagement, even their cognitive well-being. Okay? That's number 3. Number 4 naman is yung tinatawag nating na methodological gap. From the name itself, merong kakulangan sa paggamit ng ganitong methods. Ito lagi ko itong sinasabi sa mga researchers na nakahawakan ko. Before you decide with a certain methodology, magtingin muna kayo ng mga existing studies kung anong ba ang frequently used na method sa ganyang problem. Kapag yung methodology na napili ninyo ay frequently used na, and you think na makakapag-generate lang din kayo ng the same data, same information, palitan mo na. Or try mong magkaroon ng adjustment. Kasi na-anticipate mo na that you will come up with the same data. Okay? Mag-base ka sa mga hindi masyadong nagagamit para magkaroon naman tayo ng other perspective kapag ginamit yung ganitong methodology. For example, studies on workplace diversity on organization and innovation use survey and self-assessment as the primary data collection method. A methodological gap exists as few studies employ qualitative methods, such as interview, o kaya naman ethnographic observation, o di kaya naman focus group discussion, which will provide a deeper insights about the life experiences of employees in diverse workplace. So, meron daw pag-aaral regarding sa diversity in workplace in one's organization. Pero, yung mga pag-aaral nito ay nakafocus or majority ng mga pag-aaral nito ay gumamit ng survey and self-assessment, quantitative. Limited ang pag-aaral na gumagamit ng qualitative. So with that, when you will focus on the same study, use other approach or methodology. Mag-interview, focus group discussion, ethnographic observation, for you to have a deeper understanding on the life experiences of these people. Mas maiintindihan mo yung kwento nila. Di ba? Makakapag-provide ka ngayon ng different perspective. Walang repetition. New information sa table. Okay? Number 5, yung tinatawag natin na theoretical gap. Ito minsan lang siyang ginagamit, no, yung theoretical gap. Ano kasi nito ay napaka-complex. Theoretical gap, there is a gap when it comes to the revisitation and expansion ng mga existing studies. So medyo mahirap talaga siya kasi revisiting and expansion, kumbaga it's either isusupport mo or i-debunk mo or i-improve mo yung mga existing theories na mahabang pag-aaral yan. Example, traditional theories on employee motivation usually use Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But few research have integrated new concepts like digital transformation or remote work into these models. With that, a theoretical gap exists, adapting or expanding these classic models to account 21st century workplace dynamics, such as virtual teams or flexible work arrangement. Kumbaga, karamihan to ng pag-aaral na may kinalaman sa employee motivation ay gumagamit ng traditional theory which is yung kay Maslow yung hierarchy of needs. Bakit daw hindi natin subukang tingnan or i-expand or i-revisit yung tenets ng theory na to? Para mapatunayan natin kung in present time, yun pa rin ba talaga ang pangangailangan ng tao? Yun pa rin ba yung kailangan nating masunod na need or hierarchy of needs? So that's theoretical. Okay? So aside from empirical gap, ang dami natin pwedeng pagkuhanan ng problem or pagbasihan ng problem natin. We have knowledge gap, evidence gap, population gap, methodological gap, and yung panglima, yung tinatawag natin na theoretical gap. Okay? Then, how to identify research gap? Ito, lagi itong tinatanong sa akin ng mga bata. Sir, gusto po naming magkaroon ng tinatawag na ito. Ang gusto po naming gamitin na basis for our gap is yung tinatawag na evidence gap. Magbabasa po kami ng mga existing literature. Paano po namin siya gagawin? So, proceed tayo ngayon sa how to identify research gap. The first thing that you have to do, my dear researchers, if you want to appropriately identify your research gap is kailangan mo talagang magbasa ng maraming recent studies na may kinalaman doon sa area of concern na interesting or interesting para sa iyo or interested ka. Magbasa ng maraming recent studies. Mas maganda sana kung yung mga bago-bago ang inyong magiging point of reference. And then, kapag nakapagbasa ka na, nakapaghanap ka na, nakapag-compile ka na ng iba't ibang mga recent studies na may kinalaman doon sa area of concern na gusto mong pag-aralan, look for patterns. Ano yung pinagkatulad-tulad nila? Ano yung common themes nila? Ano yung mga limitations na na-observe mo doon sa mga literatures, sa mga literature na yon? Mag-annotate ka, ilista mo, isulat mo. Okay? Then after that, i-analyze mo ngayon yung limitation ng mga studies na yon. Okay? Nakita mo, okay, may kakulangan sa ganitong area. With that, you pay attention, no? Doon sa mga limitations na napansin mo and at the same time na mention ng mga researchers or na mention ng mga past researchers. Okay? Para sila ngayon yung magiging point of exploration mo. Sila yung magiging basihan mo. Okay? Pangapat, look for contradictions. Pwede rin itong tingnan mo. Halimbawa, yung mga studies na to ay yung set of studies na to ay contradicting sa line of studies na to. Ngayon tingnan mo, bakit kaya sila nagko-contradicting? Ano kaya yung problema? Pwede mo din siyang maging basis for your research ka. According po kasi sa ganitong author, ang paggamit daw po ng, for example, ng YouTube ay effective para sa pagtuturo ng tamang enunciation and pronunciation sa mga uh, ano yun? Preschool learners. Pero according po sa pag-aaral na to, ang paggamit daw po ng YouTube or iba pang social media platforms ay maaaring makadeteriorate lamang sa kakayahan ng mga preschoolers na matutong mag-pronounce at mag-enunciate. So with that, try mo ngayong pag-aralan. Sino kaya sa dalawa or din kaya sa dalawang studies na to ang mayroong accurate na information na pwedeng maibigay? Yun ang kagandahan ng looking for contradiction. Then after that, ito, consider unrepresented population or regions. Ito yung kanina, no? Kung ano yung hindi masyadong na-mention, kung ano yung masyadong hindi nabibigyan ng focus ng ibang mga researchers, doon ka mag-focus para makapag-fill in ka ng tinatawag na research gap. Okay? So these are the simple ways on how we can possibly identify good research gap. But the bottom line here is that you really have to immerse yourself in reading a lot of recent studies. No? By engaging yourself in the art of reading, marami kang madidiscover ng mga information about research ka. Okay? And then ngayon, halimbawa, nakapag-identify ka na ng research gap. Nakita mo na may kakulangan dito, supported na siya ng iba't ibang mga citations, marami ka ng pag-aaral na nabasa at talagang convinced ka na, enlightened ka na regarding dun sa nature ng study mo. Paano mo ngayon ipepresent yan sa paper mo? So obviously, you have to clearly state your gap. Baka nga nakapag nakakita ka nga ng maayos na research gap, napatunayan mo nga na may research gap dun sa pag-aaral na yan or sa area na yan. Pero nung kinompose mo na siya sa paper mo, is mas lalong naguluhan yung mga panelists. So when you are writing down your research gap, you have to make sure that you clearly stated the gap itself in such a way that your panelists and readers can easily understand your point, no? I-specify mo siya, i-mention mo siya sa introduction mo, magbigay ka ng mga literature that can possibly support, no, your identified research gap. And then, para mas strengthen pa yung identified research gap na na-mention mo or nakita mo, you have to make sure that the research questions and research objectives na gagawin mo sa paper mo ay obviously naka-anchored doon sa na-identify mo na research gap. Baka naglagay ka ng research gap sa introduction mo na may kakulangan dito. Pero yung objectives mo, yung questions mo ay hindi nag-align or hindi sila nagtutugma. So kung ano yung na-mention mong research gap sa introduction, doon ka dapat magdudwell. Doon ka dapat kukuha ng inspiration sa paggagawa ng research questions and objectives that will serve as the foundation of your research paper. Okay? Then after that, you have to justify, no? You have to justify this gap. Why addressing this research gap can advance the knowledge or solve the problem. Bakit kapag pinag-aralan or why do you think that studying this research gap is makakapag-advance siya ng knowledge or makakapag-solve siya ng problem? You have to explain that on your paper. Na kapag pinag-aralan po natin yung gap na to, it can advance the body of knowledge and it can contribute in making solution towards this problem. Okay po. Okay. Now, let's have a simple example ulit. Though I have provided example na dun sa mga taas, dun sa taas, let's have some example pa. Suppose there is a lot of research on how social media affects teenagers' mental health. But most of the studies are focusing on the negative impact. So meaning to say, there is a potential gap regarding the positive effects of social media towards the mental health of the adolescents. So focusing on this angle would contribute to the new perspective, okay, which are already researched. Okay po. So that's how, no, we identify research gap. No, ito din yung importance kung bakit dapat maayos nating napipili yung research gap natin. And I hope and I pray that you are able to understand the importance of giving highlight, focus, and importance in identifying appropriate research gap. So thank you so much to everyone. I hope and I pray that you learned something in this discussion. God bless and bye-bye.